This is the QTV Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM. And I am Mam Nabuka. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. At the COP30 Climate Summit in Brazil, Gambia's Environment Minister Rohi John Manjang has been appointed by the COP30 president to support key discussions on climate adaptation. Professor Momodou Sala, Executive Director of the New National Research and Innovation Fund, says the fund aims to support high-quality research and innovation that address key national priorities like agriculture, health, and the digital economy. The Pediatric Association of the Gambia today commemorated World Prematurity Day at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital in Banjul. Women in STEM, in partnership with Marina International High School, concluded a two-day program featuring STEM talk and a science fair as part of United Nations Science Week. In international news, the World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims, observed annually on the third Sunday of November, was marked globally on Sunday, 16 November 2025. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. Now, the Gambia has secured an important role at COP30. Environment Minister Rohi John Manjang has been appointed by the COP30 president to support key discussions on climate adaptation. Julian Jai reports from Belém, Brazil.
The Gambia has taken on one of its most significant roles yet on the global climate stage. COP30 President Andrea Correa do Lago has officially invited Environment Minister Rohi John Manjang to help support negotiations on adaptation, specifically on the indicators for the global goal on adaptation. The appointment forms part of the presidency's broader effort to involve ministers and senior officials from different countries in consultations aimed at advancing all major areas of the summit. According to the president's communication, Minister Manjang and Johann Flashberth of Germany will now work immediately, using soulful diplomacy to help move the adaptation talks forward. Minister Manjang, who expressed surprise at the appointment, thanked President Adama Barrow and the cabinet for giving her the opportunity to serve, saying the trust placed in her has enabled this recognition from the COP30 presidency.
This is an elevation of my assignment, and also now my expectations are much higher. Not only the Africa Group or the LDC, but I'm representing the entire developing countries. In a nutshell, I'm representing the entire UNFCCC parties, because the decision is for the COP. Whatever is the outcome of COP30 is for the entire UNFCCC parties. So I'm now stepping in to make sure that we're able to neutralize and constructively negotiate, disagree to agree, but also to be able to make the best use of our attending COP in Belém.
Her appointment carries symbolic weight. The Gambia, one of the countries most exposed to climate impacts, now holds an influential position in shaping discussions on coastal protection, food security, ecosystem restoration, and community resilience. This new responsibility places the Gambia at the center of discussions that guide how adaptation support is defined and delivered across the developing world.
I've shifted my lane to the other side of the COP presidency, but I'm still now the same person. I would be neutral to the best of my capacity, because without that, I will not be able to absorb each of these parties' interests.
Meanwhile, members of the Climate Action Network Africa, CAN Africa, met with the newly appointed facilitator to share their expectations for the outcome of the negotiations.
We came to meet with the Honorable Minister to discuss with her on our needs for adaptation and also just transition. Again, on adaptation, we demanded for adaptation finance. We have known that it is far too long that since the Paris Agreement, the adaptation fund has not been utilized the way that it should be, especially for the global south to feed us.
As COP30 enters a decisive phase, the Gambia's role highlights the growing influence of climate-vulnerable nations and the importance of including their perspectives in global climate decisions. Reporting for QTV News from Belém, Brazil, I am Juldenjai.
The Executive Director of the newly inaugurated National Research and Innovation Fund, Professor Momodou Salah, says the goal of the fund is to help produce high-quality research and innovations that directly respond to national priorities, such as agriculture, health, and the digital economy. He made the remarks in an interview with Aliou Cisse on Monday.
Professor Salah says the Gambia continues to rely heavily on external studies, often missing critical local-driven evidence to guide policy making. He says the new fund aims to change that by supporting research that is not only robust, but also meaningful and practical.
To have fund research, we want to be able to mobilize the resources, significant resources to fund research. We want to also be in a space where we can build the capacities of researchers and innovators. We also want to be in a space where research and innovation is used as a tool to address national development. There are so many intractable development challenges that we're facing. How can we leverage research and innovation to solve this? So we don't want another talk shop. We want to improve lives and to change the narrative through research and innovation.
Professor Salah, a former professor of teaching and learning and director of the Center for Academic Innovation at the Montfort University in the United Kingdom, emphasizes transparency and accountability in the awarding of support, but also gives an assurance of strong monitoring and evaluation to ensure every dollar produces tangible results and value for money. He says the fund will also tap in Gambian talent abroad while calling on diaspora researchers to invest and collaborate to drive progress.
And there are a lot of problems that have been identified in the National Development Plan, linked to agriculture, linked to health, linked to digital economies, linked to farming, food, and all of these issues. So we want to create, I think what this National Research and Innovation Fund would do is to create a space where research can be funded, where innovation can be promoted, where capacities can be built towards addressing national development needs.
He says that over the next 5 years, the initiative aims to mobilize substantial resources to train researchers, support innovators, and strengthen institutions.
There are so many people who are doing incredibly well informally. I mean, how will this fund, capture people in the grassroots who are into innovation?
Yeah. I think when we launched the board last week, I spoke a lot around epistemological snobbery, which actually refers to the fact that you could have a lot of people in the ivory towers who are actually conducting research that has no impact or possibly no relevance to the lived lives of the people, the lived experience. So we're quite keen that in this approach, there is an element of participatory action as well, research, which actually means that the people who are most affected must also be part of the solution as co-producers of knowledge. Research doesn't need to be only a sterilized thing in the ivory tower. There are participatory approaches. I want to see the market woman in Basse be able to take part in research about the issues that are important to them.
The creation of the body follows the enactment of the National Research and Innovation Act 2025, which was tabled in Parliament by Professor Per Gomez, Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology. And the National Research and Innovation Fund is one of 3 tertiary funds or schemes inaugurated on the same day. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
The Pediatric Association of the Gambia today commemorated World Prematurity Day at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital in Banjul. The event highlighted the importance of improving care and outcomes for preform babies across the country. Aissatou Barry tells us more.
The commemoration started with a march past from the Arch in Banjul to the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. World Prematurity Day is observed on the 17th of November each year to raise awareness of preterm birth and the concerns of preterm babies and their families worldwide. Preterm birth refers to babies born before 37 weeks of pregnancy and is the leading cause of death in children under the age of 5 worldwide. Globally, the rate of preterm birth ranges from 4 to 16% of babies born. While precise recent national prevalence data for the Gambia is limited, the high mortality rate associated with prematurity indicate it remains a significant public health challenge. Access to adequate antenatal care and improved emergency obstetric and neonatal facilities are crucial factors in addressing this issue. Professor Augusta Ene, the head of department and consultant neonatologist at AFSTH, highlighted some of the challenges preterm babies face after birth.
One of the challenges that infection because their skin, their immune system is not matured. Their skin is so thick, so thin. Then another one is feeding problem. Their GIT is not matured. Their suckling is also not matured. When they come out too early, they can't coordinate suckling, swallowing, and breathing. So it becomes difficult for them.
Musa Sise, the vice chairman of the board of directors at the Fatoumata Barbaros Foundation, emphasized the importance of supporting preterm babies.
Premature babies are everyone's business because that's where life starts. That is why our support is crucial. That's why the awareness that needs to be created and shared is also very important. The requirements all over are the same.
Dr. Charno S. Jalo is the Deputy Chief Medical Director of the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital.
When you hear prematurity, it means born too early, too soon. When they are delivered too early, too soon, most of their organs are not matured. And then from the kidneys, the hearts, everything, their immunity, so everything about them is very weak.
Awangom, a mother of one of the preterm babies, explains how to care for a preterm baby.
Having a premature baby requires extra care. The baby needs to be breastfed every 2 hours with a tube that is given by the nurses. Plus, you have to carry them on your chest because they need that skin-to-skin bonding.
World Prematurity Day remains one of the most significant global observances dedicated to newborn health, highlighting the millions of babies born too soon each year and the interventions required to support their survival. In the Gambia, premature birth continues to be a leading cause of neonatal mortality, making this year's theme especially relevant. This year's theme, Give Preterm Babies Strong Start for a Brighter Future, underscores the urgent need to strengthen neonatal health services, raise public awareness, and promote policies that support early detection, quality care, and improve survival outcomes for premature infants. Aisa Tubari, QTV News.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have more national and international news stories. Do stay tuned.
Immunisation ba ñàkku mooy li gën a wóor te dal xel ci aar xale yi ci feebar mbaa jàngoro yu mel ni ngas ñu naan ko measles feebaru saxat su bon si di tuberculosis polio feebari sedda ñu naan ko pneumonia cervical cancer tétanos ak yeneeni jàngoro xale bu juddu dafa soxla ay péngu si saasi mbaa bés bu mu juddu maanaam balaa mooy am 20 waxtu ak ñeent am na solo lool xale yi mbaa tuut tànk yi góor ak jigéen jël péngu yiñ leen tegtal ci waxtu bu ñu ko war a jëlee comme ni ñu ko bindee ci seen kayiti noosi mbaa infant welfare card xale yépp war nañoo am bépp péngu bu ñu soxla bokk na ci xale yi laago yi xale yi war nañoo jël te matal bépp péngu bu ñu war a am ci seeni njëlbeeni at ak ay yeneeni péngu bu ñu duggee ci seen ñaareeli at am na ci péngu yoo xam ne xale yi dinañu ko jël ay yooni yoon ngir gën leen a mun a aar ñuy ñaax waajuri ak ñi yore xale yi di leen toppatoo ne saa yu ñuy dem lopitaan ñu yóbbaale kayti noosi xale yi mbaa infant welfare card ngir am lu wóor ci mbir immunisation bi mbaa ñàkku xale yi mun ngeen a dem ci bérébu fajeekaay bi leen gën a jege xibaar bii ñi leen ko indil mooy waa Ministry of Health ànd ak UNICEF Gavi WHO ak seen yeneeni naataango
Browse Bitus. QCell brings you a promo like never before. Get unlimited internet for just $25 Cs. Yes! Recharge $25 Cs and enjoy the convenience of free internet from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. every day with our Browse with Us promo. With this amazing offer, you can browse, stream, and download all your favorite movies for free. So why wait? Recharge $25 Cs today and enjoy free internet only with QCell between 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. For more information, call customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Bus, we innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. Women in STEM, in partnership with Marina International High School, hosted a two-day program featuring STEM talk and a science fair as part of United Nations Science Week. The event brought together parents and students from various disciplines, all showcasing innovative projects in celebration of UN Science Week. Our Bob has more.
The first day of activities featured the STEM talk, centered on the theme Clean Energy and Innovation. The event drew students from various fields of study to discuss the growing influence and contributions of women in STEM. Kodu Jeng, president and founder of Women in STEM Gambia, stressed the importance of women in STEM across today's rapidly evolving world.
When we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk about data, we talk about skills, which I believe you should start reading on. It is quite important for you kids seated here today to take advantage of the opportunities that will come ahead of you.
Meanwhile, the science fair transformed the school grounds into a vibrant showcase of creativity, experimentation, and hands-on learning. Students from the primary, junior and senior schools proudly represented projects that reflected their curiosity and their understanding of real-world scientific challenges, from clean energy models and robotics demonstrations to environmental solutions crafted from everyday materials. Cibec International School was also invited to participate, adding further excitement to the event. Mr. Carl Frederick Paul, the UN Resident Coordinator, emphasized the vital role of science, noting its significant influence on shaping future development.
Science is the strongest engine of progress and therefore of development. And it's not progress only of the country, but also the minds and the different progress of our communities.
Jonathan Warner is the school's director.
So this is our annual science fair, which is the culmination of a week of activities which we've tied together with the United Nations Science Week. And everything that we're doing is in recognition of the children's creativity, their ideas. We're focusing on clean energy generation and sustainable development.
Marina International students Versini A. Jata and Abdul Karim Minte are among the participants.
We're actually doing two projects. It's the extraction of DNA from a strawberry, because most people do not know that DNA is all around us and in all living things. And then the second one is water analysis. We're testing different water samples to see if they have the important ions that we need in our body.
At the end of the experiment, we want to see where the ions that these water companies claim that can be found in their water bottles are actually present. We're also educating people on the importance and uses of these ions.
Students showcase a DIY solar-powered air purifier.
So this is where the efficiency comes in, because in Africa and even in the Gambia, the number one problem is pollution, specifically air pollution and sea pollution. So if only the governments could make a bigger result from this prototype, they could mass production, and they can also make a bigger, more renewable version, and it would cleanse the air in the land.
Volcanic eruptions, charcoal briquettes, a solar-powered air purifier, extraction of DNA from strawberry, water analysis, and other projects showcased by the students not only highlighted their technical skills, but also fostered critical thinking, teamwork, and innovation. For QTV News, I am Our Bob.
The National Center for Arts and Culture, together with 69 Entertainment and other partners, held the closing ceremony of the Professor Cherno Omar Bari Storytelling Competition under the theme Voices of the Smiling Coast, honoring the legacy of Professor Bari and promoting creativity and cultural expression. More in this report.
The ceremony attracted a diverse audience including government officials, diplomats, stakeholders from the creative industry, educators, and students, to witness the culmination of a month-long journey dedicated to storytelling. 11 contestants engaged in a rigorous process that included auditions, workshops, story writing, and storytelling exercises from October 3rd to October 31st. The initiative aims to cultivate a new creative culture to revive the age-old tradition of storytelling as a means of promoting national development. The arrival of the closing ceremony called for the contestants to showcase their final projects in the manner of a presentation for evaluation and recognition. Mamat Salah, the Director of Cultural Heritage at the NCAC, along with Franklin Chika Adim, the Storytelling Competition's Executive Director, addressed all participants as winners and shared their reflections on the importance of this initiative.
It's very, very important for us as an institution, and also is a way of how to preserve and also to conserve the cultural heritage of the Gambia by using storytelling.
We are going to modernize storytelling. We are going to recreate it. We are going to rebrand it. And with the help of the National Center for Arts and Culture, we are going to make it one of the cultural assets of the Gambia.
After a guest performance featuring poetry and songs in Mandarin by Nusrat Senior Secondary School, the 11 contestants each had the chance to deliver a compelling performance of the final stories they submitted for the competition. Certificates were later presented to key figures that were instrumental to the successful execution of the competition in its entirety, and prizes and certificates were awarded to all the participants after a review of their work. Daniela Bangura won a cash prize of $26,000 for ranking first and having the best story, which addressed postpartum depression. She expressed how this experience will motivate her to further explore her creativity in the future.
I have actually written other stories, but I'm yet to publish them. Yeah, hopefully along the line I will publish it by God's grace.
Here is Professor Charna Omar Bari, the grand patron of the storytelling competition.
To see this place alive with voices, creativity and cultural pride is a reminder of what the Malian sage Amadou Hampâté-Bâ once said: when an elder dies, a library burns. But today we have proven that when young people tell their stories, a new library is built.
Turkey's ambassador to the Gambia and the ambassador of the People's Republic of China, both present as key partners, praised the initiative for its significance and passionately shared their views on the necessity of storytelling in fostering ties between nations and preserving culture and history for generations. Building on the success of this storytelling competition, the organizers have confirmed that next year it will evolve into an academy guided by prominent literary figures in the Gambia. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
Coming up next is international news. The World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims is observed on the third Sunday of November each year. The day is dedicated to honoring those who have lost their lives or have been severely injured in road crashes, acknowledging the suffering of victims, their families, and the communities affected. Loliam Kamara tells us more.
First introduced by the charity Road Peace in 1993 and formally adopted by the United Nations in 2005, the World Day of Remembrance serves not only as a memorial but also as a reminder that road deaths and injuries are largely preventable. This year's commemoration highlights the human cost of road crashes, which remain one of the leading causes of death globally, particularly among young people. The day also emphasizes the economic and social impact of road accidents on nations, including the burden on healthcare systems and losses in productivity. This is true of the Gambia, where road accidents continue to be one of the leading causes of injury and death, with national data showing a concerning trend over the past 5 years. The theme for this year is Remember, Support, Act, to underscore the importance of remembering victims of road traffic crashes, supporting bereaved families and survivors, and taking action to improve road safety globally.
Dear colleagues and friends, on this World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims, and every day, we stand with you, the families and survivors, with deep respect for your courage. You inspire us by transforming trauma into action. Your stories bring more people to our cause. Your advocacy changes hearts, minds, and decisions. You are leaders in our work to build safe streets for people all over the world. Thank you very much for all you do to make our roads safer and avoid further tragedies.
The Ministry of Transport and the Gambia Police Force have identified several main causes of these crashes, which include speeding, reckless overtaking, poor vehicle conditions, poorly trained drivers, and weak enforcement of traffic laws. Beyond the human toll, the economic cost of traffic accidents is staggering. Government estimates show that the Gambia loses over $2 billion annually due to road accidents through medical bills, emergency responses, and productivity losses. In response, the Ministry of Transport is implementing the National Road Safety Strategy 2020-2030, which aims to significantly reduce fatalities and create a coordinated national response. In the Gambia, the situation reached a state where, in 2022, Dr. Musa Marena, the head of the orthopedic and trauma unit at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, suggested that, based on the data he had compiled, he felt there was a need for road traffic accidents to be declared a public health emergency for a proper national response. As the world remembers victims of road crashes, families, survivors, and road safety advocates are calling for stronger enforcement, safer roads, and better education to prevent further loss of life. For QTV News, Loli M. Kamara.
That brings us to the end of this bulletin, but before we go, here's a recap of the headlines. At the COP30 Climate Summit in Brazil, Gambia's Environment Minister Rohi John Manjang has been appointed by the COP30 president to support key discussions on climate adaptation. Professor Mamadou Sala, Executive Director of the new National Research and Innovation Fund, says the fund aims to support high-quality research and innovations that address key national priorities like agriculture, health, and the digital economy. The Pediatric Association of the Gambia today commemorated World Prematurity Day at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital in Banjul. Women in STEM, in partnership with Marina International High School, concluded a two-day program featuring STEM talk and a science fair as part of United Nations Science Week. In international news, the World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims, observed annually on the third Sunday of November, was marked globally on Sunday, 16 November 2025. That's all for this bulletin. Join us again at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Thanks for watching.